Hello everybody, this is Monica, and I would like to talk to you all today about movement and some of the things that I like to play with as I am moving my body, whether that's just moving around my house to pick up laundry and do all that basic stuff, or if I'm in a dance class or about to perform or going out to a club, anything like that. So as some of you may know, I am a certified facilitator of Access Consciousness, and I also have a lot of training in dance and acupuncture and a whole bunch of other things. But the dance, the acupuncture, and the Access Consciousness is what I would like to play with today. So, Access Consciousness, for those of you who don't know, is a whole bunch of tools that basically assist you to be aware of what it is that you're creating in your life and to open up the possibilities to make new choices, to be able to create some change in any area that isn't working for you, whether that's money, job, relationships, or with your body. So using your awareness, in this case, we'll talk about with the body, using your awareness of the body to facilitate change in the body is one of my favorite things to play with. And in addition to many of the specific tools of Access Consciousness, I like to play with something from Japanese medicine that was developed by Dr. Keizo Hashimoto, who's a Japanese physician, and it is called Sotai. And I love it. He decided on that name for it because it's the opposite of Taiso, which is exercise. So doing the opposite of exercise, which is my favorite thing. I'm not a big exerciser. One of the main principles with Sotai is to move in the direction of ease. And this is used in a really specific way therapeutically, but I love to play with it, the kind of poetry of it and the starting off point for exploration with the body, and then I tend to take it into the therapeutic as well. So I'll talk to you a little bit about that and show you how to play with that. But before I go too far, I would just like to ask, do you even know what is easy movement? What feels good to your body? What is fun and pleasurable? Basically, your body is able to speak to you in all sorts of ways, whether that's with a muscle spasm or a twitch or a gallbladder problem or high blood pressure. These are all the ways that the body talks. And, what is it saying? Well, that's a whole other line of inquiry. And sometimes we can go down a path that concludes what it is that the body is saying without even asking. How does it get better than that? What if we were to actually ask the body rather than just come to conclusions? But before I get too off topic, let's talk about movement. How do you know that a movement is easy? Like I said before, if it feels good, basically that's the way that the body is telling you yes. And if it feels uncomfortable, that's the way that the body is telling you no. Or, hey, pay attention. Or, stop. Something. So as I'm playing around, as I'm getting ready to warm up, I start to just move whichever way I feel like moving. It could be something really simple. And I just notice what feels really good and what feels not so good. And from noticing, simply noticing and not having a huge opinion about it, like if it feels good, that's not like, I should only ever do that movement. Or if it feels bad, it's not like, oh, I should never ever do that movement. It's just information. And you can use that information to engage in a dialogue with your body that allows you to open things up. So, like I was saying, if I start moving around, however, and I just get a sense, oh, it feels good to move like this. I'm going to really explore it for a moment. I'm going to move in the direction of ease. Now, this goes counter to a lot of what I have been taught, and I'll go ahead and assume that I'm not the only one. So this goes counter to that idea of no pain, no gain. A teacher of mine who introduced me to Sotai, actually, his replacement for the term no pain, no gain was no pain, no pain, which I really appreciate. So I'll give you all that one. So rather than going into the areas that are uncomfortable and working it out in there and like rolling around in the muck as though that's the place that we have to go, I like to play with exploring where there's ease. This gives my body a sense of relief that I don't often get, honestly, with all of the pressures of life that come up. And this also, I have found, can actually open up the areas where things are a little bit more difficult. So let's go ahead and take a Sotai example of how to take this into like a therapeutic technique. So everybody has heard about people having tension in the shoulders, right? There's a lot of pressure that people carry up in their neck and their shoulders, and you can often see people who walk around with their shoulders a little bit elevated. Now, when I was younger, I heard a lot of, put your shoulders down, and this way to like stick your chest out, put your shoulders down, suck your stomach in. It was this like sculpting of your body with your mind, And what I see is that requires a lot of effort, and that you might stand whichever way you're asking yourself to for a moment, but then if you forget or you have to do something else, maybe your shoulders creep back up and your stomach jumps back out, or your chest caves in, whatever it is that you're not supposed to do. Well, from a Sotai standpoint, if we were to look again at that elevated shoulder situation, what we would say is that the direction of ease, the direction that the shoulders are inclined to go already, is up. So if you were to move in the direction of ease, rather than pushing your shoulders down with that effort, you would allow your shoulders to come up even more. And you really exaggerate and squeeze and explore and play with the tension, and then release it. And you'll find that often in this particular example, the shoulders will lower to further than they were before I started out. So moving in the direction of ease, allowing the body to complete what it's saying, to like really go for it. Oh, shoulders, you're tense? Go for it. Be tense. Do tense. You got it? Do all of the tension that you could possibly do and a little bit more. And do you have anything else to say? And then you relax. And then you see. I find this to be very fun. I love to do this with, if my neck is hurting, I'll find a particular direction that's uncomfortable. And then I go the opposite direction. So right now doing this is a little bit uncomfortable. And so then I just find, oh, this is very comfortable. So I'll just go ahead and explore that a little bit more and play around with, it doesn't only have to be the extreme version, but really playing around with what feels easy. And the whole time that I'm doing this, I can sense my whole body relaxing a bit. And then now, really simply, it is easier to move my head this other direction than it was before. Now, I'm somewhat of a, I get real nitpicky about sensation, and so when I say that it's easier, it's like a tiny bit easier, but all of those tiny bits count, and I like to listen to the tiny bits of ease or tension and to ask for those things to shift. And there are so many ways that you can go about this. I'm sure that there are ways that you could go into the area of difficulty and find some way to open it. I just happen to really appreciate this particular way of moving in the direction of ease for the body, but then also for the spirit, for the being, for the sense of possibility, that it doesn't always have to be struggle, that we don't always have to do the hard work of fixing something that's a problem, that actually instead playing and exploring with the area where there is ease is a contribution to you. It can allow you to unwind from all of the tensions and stresses that you've been carrying. So, there, let that be a little invitation for you to start to play around with how you're moving. And if you notice that something's uncomfortable, rather than beating yourself up by just ramming into that over and over again, play with what is comfortable and allow yourself to have a bit of joy with your movement, explore the pleasure of your movement and see what that opens up for you. All right, have fun dancing around.